The high-speed camera has actually made quite an impact on the broadcast and media industry. We basically saw there was a market for this back in the early 2000s, and in 2006 we produced our first media camera. This was called the Phantom HD, and basically it rewrote the rule book for getting slow-mo onto television. But where we've come from, actually, the history of high speed goes back really to the end of the Second World War, when people were using high-speed film cameras. This was driven very much by the military, trying to work out how to make things work better in their environment. And then it was slowly adopted for other scientific programs, and then automotive in the late 50s. With their safety, or the pursuit of safety for the cars, started using high speed for that. So the automotive and military are very big markets for us, as are other manufacturers. There are other high-speed cameras available. But as I say, so that's the sort of history where we've come from. Industry use them to fault find on their machines, on production lines, and for developing production tools. And they're used in universities throughout the world for their blue sky research in all sorts of applications into water, metallurgy, crack propagation, mining, absolutely everywhere now. You know, you find a high-speed camera. So coming into the 21st century, we sort of saw a gap in the market for us and produced a media camera, as I say, the Phantom HD Gold. And that's really allowed us to capture a very large slice of this market now. We are the market leader in this business. And we have a new camera here today, which is incredibly small, but very powerful. So this camera will do 1,500 frames a second at full HD. So each second of capture at 1,500 frames a second takes a minute to play back. So we've got a duration time of just under 3 seconds. So you're looking at 3 minutes of playback time. We've been very pleased with the show so far.
Hi, I'm Ben and I work at Cirrolite. We distribute lighting from around the UK and around Western Europe. Our main brands are Dedolight, which you see here, and also Kineflow. Kineflow are an American brand based in LA, and they are basically came from fluorescent lighting in the film industry, and they are very, very soft and good on skin. So they also designed LED fixtures, and effectively they are a workhorse of the UK and national film industry, international as well. Dedo is slightly different. They are a German-made lighting product. They are based in Munich, and because of that, their engineering is pretty smooth. They've got a very fine optical system, which makes the lights extremely efficient. They have 2 lenses, which is patented, so they have an optical system that's sort of double their competitors, compared to Fresnel lenses and things like that. So they have offer up a few different options and variations. They came from tungsten originally, and they also have HMI sources, but now, due to sort of demand in the industry of low energy lighting, they also have LED units, such as this one. This is a LEDzilla, and it's an on-camera light. It's designed to be spotted and flooded, so you have lots of different bits of lighting control. You have barn doors, so you can fine-tune it. You also have a tungsten filter, so you can switch it from daylight balanced to tungsten. You can also switch it and just soften it slightly, so it casts slightly lighter shadows. They also are producing a 20-watt LED, which is a prototype at this stage, which will be really interesting. It's really the big brother of the LEDzilla, and quite an interesting unit to go on camera. And then as you go up the range, there's a 40-watt switching between daylight and tungsten, 90-watt, and eventually this kind of large beast over here, which is 120 watts. So that's mostly a studio fixture, but there's lots of different applications. Because it's only drawing 120 watts, it means that you can actually power it off of a large battery or domestic mains. So you can actually have that on a shoot in a property, and it's like a big HMI source, but it's pulling a lot less power. So we're mostly dealing with low energy lighting, and it seems to be the demand at the moment, so hopefully we'll be supplying for that. These lights are designed to be extremely portable. Because they draw less power, it means you don't need to bring generators with you. They're also spot and floodable, you can control them. You can put a 3-head kit into a case about this big and power them, and you can actually have an interview kit in that size. So one person with a camera can effectively be a portable, camera and lighting crew.
Gearhouse Broadcast has 4 departments really. We have projects, which runs things such as ATP tennis tour. We work with ITV and I'm a Celebrity. We also have a rental department which works very closely with that project department. We have a systems integration department which will do anything from a truck build to a studio build, and then we have equipment sales. And that's what we're promoting here is sales of new equipment such as Hitachi cameras, which are here, which can be used for outside broadcast use, as well as studio use. And also we have used equipment that comes from our own rental department.
What's the difference between cameras that are used for outside broadcast and cameras that are used in a studio?
Generally, there's not a huge difference. A studio camera will be mounted on a studio tripod or dolly. Where these cameras differ from, say, a production shoot of, say, a documentary, is these would generally be used on a tripod. Other ones will be handheld or shoulder mount, or maybe on a Steadicam mount.
And what are the challenges, using cameras in an outside broadcast situation? Obviously, there's going to be mountains and mountains of cables everywhere. Or do you use wireless?
No, generally Gearhouse would use cable. If it's from a truck, for example, and from our Australian office, there will be drums of cable on the back of a truck, so there'll be up to about 8 drums of cable. Otherwise, there will be feeds of cable running into a truck that's permanent lay, for example, from Euro 2012, which Gearhouse worked on. We went and laid cable throughout all the 8 stadia into either vehicles or the MCRs, and it seems like these are used for live sports events. So you've got the elements to consider. You've got the fact that everything's moving and happening at once, against something that can be edited from an edit suite and such stuff made nice and then broadcast later on. So really, a lot of this is for live sporting events.
Unified Streaming is a Netherlands-based company, and what we provide is a software solution used by broadcasters and content delivery networks by which they can easily stream out videos and audio to all devices that are currently out there. And the devices and clients, I mean iPhones, iPads, Android telephones, other smartphones, but also laptops, Apple laptops, but also Microsoft laptops, etc., etc. The thing is, with the challenge that these companies have, these big broadcasters, is that they need several solutions to reach the same audience as we can do with one solution. So we use one input file, that is the trick, and based on the request from which device it comes, we remux it and re-wraps it so it can be played on that device.
So where do you see the future for that sort of technology?
Well, it's very clear that the role of the television is changing. The television in the living room, and most people, especially the young people, are watching television whenever they like and wherever they want to. So, for instance, if I take my own family, I see my daughter looking at their famous soap any time in the day, in the garden, in her room, but not in front of the television. So there's a whole change evolving there from where you finally will put your content as a content provider. Will it be on a second screen? Will it be on the TV? It can be everywhere.